Welcome in, everyone, to the Challenge After Show. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Jenna was really celebrating today. All I did was throw on a shirt. So congrats to Jenna. You are the one. Congratulations.
You know what, Dan? I also just realized he literally just threw on this shirt because he saw my background.
Purple.
And you still have your purple. So now you're Barney?
Well,
I'm
if
just
I wanted to show the
realizing.
guns off, Jenna, I could have just had, but I was trying to be humble today. Clearly.
Oh, yeah, you've been known to rock a muscle shirt or two. So let's not try to act like you're not willing to show off the arms.
Well, I didn't want to not act like it wasn't freezing still in California because it's super noisy. We still got to layer up out here. We've had a rough, for LA standards. You've lived in LA. It's always nice, but we've had a really rough winter LA standards. It's been raining every day. It's been awful. So
yeah, I'm really sick of this. I mean, it's been March now and it just snowed this week for like the first time. So yes, a mild winter. I shouldn't complain, but I will, because at the same time, I'm just over it. And March is when it used to be spring and sunny, and it's still not. And it's gray and foggy and depressing every day. But yes, happy St. Patty's Day, everybody. I love
happy St. Patrick's Day.
Although I do feel like this is almost disrespectful for how bad it looks. This is almost like offensive how bad this decoration looks.
Purple with green on. Who wears purple and green, Jenny? You're doing fine.
Right?
I mean, you were really celebrating. You really are. Yeah.
Yes. I know.
Well, today you and I have decided to celebrate St. Patrick's Day by doing a podcast episode 3, Us Against the World for the World Championship. You know what?
They have no Irish people on this show.
What were they? I mean, they knew this was going to air during St. Patrick's Day. Why wouldn't they get an Irish guy or girl?
Why would they exclude such a wonderful, beautiful country?
Well, because they didn't have a world championship there. By the way, we got a lot of great comments this week, so we really appreciate that on the YouTube. People saying how good the Australia one was, the UK, even the Argentina one. They said they were all really good to watch. We only watched the US one, so they were like, they all recommended we go and watch it, and maybe we would have liked episode 1 more because we would have had people who wanted to root for it, which makes sense, of course. Yeah. So
yep, it totally makes sense. And we get a storyline of that tonight, which kind of gives us a glimpse into maybe how good. Oh no, I'm sorry. It was Australia where Emily met her now husband, and we love that story.
Like, gosh, I wanted to see more. Now I wanted to see more of that. And I also, obviously, we're going to get into a little bit of some coupling up on the show tonight. Not really, but a little bit. I wanted to see more of that too, but I want to start at the beginning.
Okay, we'll take it from the top.
And I wanted to ask you a question. Did you watch the intro this week?
I did. I liked it.
Did you like it? Because I really enjoyed it last week. And I found this week watching it again, it almost gets me excited to watch.
Oh, right? It makes you feel like, ooh, I'm tuned in.
It's like I'm getting like, it's like stretching before a workout or warming up before a workout. Like it gets me in the mood to work out versus just like going in there cold and then be like, oh, I pulled a muscle, or it gets me like, whew. I loved it. I thought it was great. It's like having an appetizer before your meal.
Yeah, I like it. And I will say, my critique of episode 1 is that it felt like too much of a polished competition, family-friendly show. But I feel like that was really just episode 1. And now it's kind of back to feeling more like a reality TV show, like less graphics, less all of these things that make it feel polished. But I loved the intro. I thought it was great.
Yeah. And did you notice episode 1 was like an hour and a half long. Episode 2, they got it back down to 45. And episode 3, like we saw in All Stars and the Challenge USA, it's still 45. We're gonna have 45-minute episodes. I think these are a great amount of time. Doesn't need to be the full hour and a half like they've been doing. I love this time. Doesn't. And even on this one, because they didn't have a daily challenge, there was so much.
And I will say
content of them talking about just strategy of who's John A gonna pick. I was like, I'm over it. John A, pick someone already. But sorry, go on.
Yeah. Okay. So that was my feeling for the first 30 minutes of this episode. But then by the time it ended, I really wanted more. And it was actually interesting that I was left wanting more, because that doesn't typically happen with these seasons. Because like you said, they're an hour and a half. So when they ended it, I was like, are they really actually ending it right here? And now I want more, and I'm on the edge of my seat because I thought the second half of the show was so good. But I will say I don't want to be too negative because I know people are loving this season. And a lot of people in the comments are really loving it. And I feel like we were generally pretty negative about the first one. Definitely the first one. We eased up on the second one. But I
For
have to
sure.
be honest, that first 30 minutes of this third episode, I was like, oh my gosh,
I
it's
know.
really, like painful for me to have to pay attention. I want to look at my phone. There's other things I want to
I
do.
know.
And like this first 30 minutes is just so dragged out. We obviously know we know what's happening. Give us
Yes.
any other storyline. It was one storyline.
So what I loved about this episode was after John A makes her decision and we see what happens with KellyAnne and stuff like that, it finally gave me a reason, and this will be the tease to the end. This finally gave me a reason to not like John A. I finally have a legit reason to not like her. People can call me out if they want, but I'm going to get into my reasons for not liking John A at the end of this episode. But that is where I also wanted more. I wanted KellyAnne to go at her more and be like, give me your reason, etc. We'll get into it though. But it's just so, I loved that part of it because I'm like, call her out now. I'm like, KellyAnne, go get in there. After all this BS, call her out. And
you
she
know
started
what?
to.
That was probably the payoff
Yes.
that the producers wanted with them dragging it out so much in the first half, because it made you that much more emotionally connected to it when it all became full circle. So, like some shows have a slow burn and you just got to stick it through to get to the good part. So I guess, it did work. It did work in the end, because I was definitely like, I had like an emotional reaction to this episode where I was feeling like, oh, like I want to be in that house. I want to have KellyAnne's back, and I want to puff my chest right now. And I want to have a few things to say.
All right. And I agree. And let's break down a couple of these big storylines that happened. Not big, but just interesting. So you have Benha and Jody and their kind of relationship and their interaction. And I thought like, oh my God, this is like, it's so awkward. Like he kept saying how amazing she was. There's some type of communication they're just not having. And eventually she's like, okay, so I'm gonna go to the bathroom and you're gonna go away from me. Like you're gonna go over there. And she said it nicely, but like, I was thinking it kind of sucks for certain people to be partnered with certain people. Like some are going to have these great relationships and they're going to have such a different experience on this show. Like Jody going into it, I don't think she expected to have the experience she's having now. And she's like, God damn, like this is not who I want to be with. But I mean, well, they got out, and we'll see how far they go. But I think at this point, for at least Jody, she's like, gosh, this is not who I pictured myself with working together with. I don't know. What vibe were you getting with those two?
Well, I think from your perspective, it's probably because of the language barrier. And you're right. As much as it seems that he can speak good English, there probably is still a cultural, different meanings behind certain words that people use different dialects differently. So I think the language barrier, you're right, is going to be a deficit for some teams. It's not really as totally fair as an American and an American, or a Brit and an American, or an Aussie or an American, like where everybody just predominantly speaks English. But I gotta give it to them, season after season, when anybody else from another country comes on, for them to have to speak English, and have that in their back pocket. None of the Americans know how to speak their language. So they're, for them
apparently Nellie's mom knows how to speak Spanish. So there you go.
There you go.
Oh,
we did get a lot of mom photos on this episode.
Mm-hmm. We should bring that up though, about Nellie and the car accident that he was in and how awful that looked. Now at least I haven't been able to find like why the car accident happened, or, I mean, I don't think he was under the influence or anything. I don't know if he was speeding. I don't know, but he obviously, as everyone knows from social media, Nellie was in an awful car accident, and like 4 strangers literally pulled him out of a flaming car. One of those guys, the first guy that was actually filming, it was a guy who plays for like the Vikings. Like he's a professional football player. And then he got a lot of like schlack for not like helping right away. But he was thinking to himself, he's like, I have a lot to lose here, as does everybody in this world. But he, especially being an NFL football player and whatever, all his reasonings. But he did eventually go and pull him out while still filming. Yeah. So just a shout out to Nellie, love and support for you. There was also, I don't think he started. Someone started what's that? We raise money to help him.
A GoFundMe, probably.
Someone started a GoFundMe. That's exactly right. I don't know if it was him. I don't think it was. Someone started a GoFundMe. That's been getting a lot of hits on social media as well. Like, dude, doesn't this guy have insurance? Why are we, he should be fine. And then someone said he doesn't have insurance, and someone's giving Nelly crap. Like, why would you be on the challenge in general and not have insurance? You could get hurt, et
I don't
cetera,
know.
et cetera.
Everyone always has something to say. Like,
There's
can
just so much behind this.
This man just survived but if
that's what I'm getting at too. It's like, well, thank God he's alive.
Yeah.
But I also want to throw out, like, everyone should have health insurance. I know it's a pain in the ass sometimes in the US to have it, and it's very pricey, but you don't know what could happen on a daily basis to you. You could be driving down the road fine. All of a sudden you're in the hospital. How did I get here? I have no money to pay for it. Like, I don't know. So there's that though. There's that aspect of it. But
no, you're right. That's a really solid point. I was just interpreting it wrongly, of like people just having negative counterpoints and things to say about Nelson. But yeah, no, that's definitely a fair point. If you're going on shows where your goal is to do very dangerous things, although it is a TV show and hopefully nothing would happen. If you're someone like Olivia, does the challenge pick up that expense?
And that was more in the comment section. They were also writing that, like, does MTV pick up the expenses for something like that if you don't have insurance? But then someone also wrote they probably sign a contract. It was like, you better have insurance, and if you don't, you're liable for whatever happens. There might be that. There's a whole plethora of things that are being discussed on the internet right now, and but yeah, so Nelly, they showed him. He's putting video. We obviously, he's a friend of the show. He's on our like emblem for YouTube. So I've been following him on Instagram for years, and they showed him he's up and about walking around. But obviously that whole leg has all kinds of metal bolts and stuff in it, literally holding it together at this point. So he's obviously not walking on it. But
yeah, I if he's comfortable with it, I would like for him to kind of tell that story, because it is incredible and so amazing that people saved him.
Like you can see in the video, like you were saying, you hit us up, Jenna. You said, "Oh my God, I can't believe in the video you can see someone actually pulling him out. Like he's stuck. Like he was trying to get out like the passenger side. It was crazy."
Yeah. I had so many thoughts.
I know.
For someone to think to get their phone out and record is interesting too, instead of just getting
I know that, and that's why that NFL player was getting a lot of flack.
Oh my
for
God,
lack of a better term.
So glad he's okay. What a crazy thing to have to go through, to feel be in a car fire, feel your body burning.
Yeah, and I just hope that it was a pure accident and that he didn't contribute to the accident, whether it be speeding or something like that. I just hope it was just it seemed like he was the only car too. That's what makes me nervous, is I didn't see any other cars in the accident. Maybe he just lost control of his car. I just hope that he wasn't doing anything crazy, because Nelly, we love you, man. We don't want anything to happen to you, dude. So
yeah. Do you know where it was? Was it in Minnesota? I don't know. I'm thinking
you want to say it's in Minnesota because there's a Minnesota football player there, but then I thought I saw that it was it Texas? Again, someone will know in the comments below. But it was a Minnesota player, but then it's the off season right now, so he doesn't have to stay in Minnesota in the off season. He can go wherever he wants.
He's probably not.
Anyways, we'll get back into the show here. But I did want to bring that up because we brought up Nelly's mom, and then I was like, well, we should talk about Nelly, and plus he does go into elimination tonight, and I have a mediocre Nelly conspiracy about the end of this episode. So you're going to love this conspiracy, Jenna.
Am I? Because I really feel like he just screwed the pooch with this one, and he really played himself with how terrible.
Well, no, it's before he screws the pooch. I got him pre-pooch screw with his conspiracy.
Okay.
Yes, that is the conspiracy, and we'll get into it later. Yes,
so you got it. All right, let's keep it rolling.
We got to talk about Tori and Danny. They're already showing cracks, and I think the producers did a great job. Well, Jenna, I think the producers did a great job of splitting up every legend this year and put them with a fresh meat or whatever you want to call them, the MVP, whatever. Because now, like Tori says with Danny, I can't protect all these people that we said we were going to work with before we got here. We literally can't protect anybody now, because we're everyone's with an MVP here. It's insane. So I love this aspect of I'm very happy with the producers and the decision they made.
Yeah, I think Tori will come around too, because we see Danny in his confessional interview and doesn't name Kiki this time. So I cannot even believe that it's
you know what? You just figured it out. That's the first time he has not mentioned Kiki in his entire challenge run. Every episode of USA, he mentioned it.
If there's any sort of consistency I'm looking for, it's a Kiki.
It's a Kiki reference.
Yeah. But he says in his confessional, the legends, they have too many friends in this game, and that's gonna muddy this because you can't protect everybody. So I think Tori is smart enough to know that. I think she cares more about each individual game potentially, and then we'll do damage control when push comes to shove in a future season. And that, that's something that I thought too, that we've talked about, is I get like having loyalty and having friendship, and of course you're thinking the future, and if you work with someone and you like them and you want to keep that tie established, but at the same time we miss when people weren't always thinking this was going to be their career, so that way they would play ball a little bit.
And see that, and Tori literally said the line in her, like, one of her confessionals. She's like, I got to work with these people in the future. I got to do all this stuff. Like, oh my god, just play the game, have fun.
I know, it's kind of
live life a little bit, Tori. Come on, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
It's disappointing to say it because we always talk about it, but then to hear someone actually say it on the show, it's like, oh god, what the hell?
Yes, that's why like Danny is refreshing in that sense, because he's just like, we got to play our game. But I think Tori will recognize that. I think she'll turn around. Tori and Jordan in the bed though.
It's on my list. Let's get into it.
That.
I definitely did not miss that. I said because they showed Tori sleep and they showed him sleep. I'm like, yep, they're in the same goddamn bed. They could be anywhere in this house, but no, they're sharing a bed. There it is. And then later on, we see Tori giving him a butt massage, and then later on, we see Jordan say that they've imprinted like the kids in Twilight do.
They did.
So like, but like that got me too, because I'm obsessed. Not only did I watch the Twilight movies, I read all the damn books.
No, man, it got me in like a.
Oh well, it got me in I'm obsessed with Twilight.
Know of how funny it is that they said that. I was like, he's for real. He just said they imprinted.
But now, did you read the books?
Imprinted on my daughter?
Did you read? I know. Did you read the books or watch the movies?
No.
Okay. Well, it's imprinting on someone in those books is like
I know.
It's like the most serious thing that can happen. So to use that terminology to talk about Tori, that means that they're supposed to be together. They're not supposed to. They don't see anybody else. They only see this one person. So the fact that he said that, they're going to get back together, right?
Like when Jacob was a pedophile and imprinted on an unborn baby, like that part
of it. For saying you didn't read the books, you sure know a lot about
I know happened. The movie. Oh, I saw the movie, because that part, I was not going to miss that part.
So they specify in the books, I just look at her as a daughter, someone I want to protect. But as she grows older and she apparently turns 18, it turns into lust. Like, what is going on here? I know. It's crazy to think about. It is, especially like, can you write that book in 2023?
No.
Who the hell knows anymore? What can you write anymore? What can you do anymore? All right. I wanted to bring this up. Speaking of another Danny, Ben is Danny Tanner.
Do you Fairy get godparents? No, wait. Full House.
He's cleaning this house like no tomorrow, aka the Danny Tanner reference. And he even shows where he hides his secret stash of dishes that he keeps clean. And I said to myself, oh, you're hiding stuff in plain sight. It was just right there. He's like, he made it sound like it was this hidden compartment up in the cabinet. That was under your bed. It made me laugh. I was like, this is ridiculous. He's right there, dude. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it does make me think though, because I worked and still do work in television production, but I worked in television production in Los Angeles, and one of my friends' friend was a production assistant on X on the Beach in Hawaii, season 1. And that PA had to do the dishes in that house. So I'm always curious how that gets handled, because the living quarters and cleanliness is always an excellent source of drama.
Oh, like, for sure.
Real world, Jersey Shore, because that's the real shit. If you ever lived with people, even in college, yes, like I went a week without talking to my roommates, my best friends, because of dishes and who's doing what in the dishwasher and who's using what. Like,
have you ever lived by yourself?
Yes.
Okay, now listen to this. I'm 37 years old and I've never lived by myself ever, not once in my entire life. Isn't that crazy? Went to college. I lived with my whole family, obviously growing up, but I shared a room with my brother. Went off to college, had roommates all 4 years.
Wow.
Get out of that, go back, live at home again, move to California. You can't afford to live on your own, especially when you move out at the beginning. At least I couldn't. Had 3 roommates, 6 and now I got a wife, and I never have lived by myself. It's insane.
So are you patient when it comes to dishwashing then?
I think for being a boy, a stereotypical boy, I think I'm pretty clean. So I keep stuff pretty damn clean. There was never, you know, and like I made rules with roommates, like tried to say, hey, you know, just clean up your own stuff. We don't have to clean each other's stuff. Like in that house, Ben was cleaning up after everybody. He's like, dude, if you each just cleaned up
Right.
the glass you had, it'd never be messy. It's a common sense. So
Yeah. But people
yeah,
don't do that. They
I know.
drink,
Well,
they
you just
sleep
got to
late, they wake
pick the
up
right
late.
roommates and then just have them stick to it. But you just never know what you're going to get sometimes in
Yeah.
that LA roommate search. Even if
Oh
even
no.
if you vet them, you just don't know what you're getting.
That sounds like a dangerous game.
Sure does. All right, let's move on. So the Tori and Jordan thing, just one more thing on that. You don't see this turning into anything? Why do they keep teasing us with this nonsense? Why do the producers, if they know that Tori and Jordan are really nothing is ever going to happen, they keep clearly showing us stuff to plant more seeds in our head and hoping that grows into something and we actually give a shit again? Because I know that there's people out there, and they can tell us in the comment section, that are sick of this Tori and Jordan non-paying off stuff. Jenna, you love a payoff. We're most likely not going to get that with them. Let's be real.
I love a paycheck more.
Well, true
But I
that.
do think what happened in this episode was authentic. I mean, you see them
Agreed.
sleeping together in the same bed. I don't think that would have been like planted or manipulated.
No,
And
no, I'm not
everything
saying
else
that,
seems
but
friendly
like,
and platonic. So I don't know how it's going to grow. I'm hoping that they've just been able to see each other as, I don't know, always loving each other, but maybe they could just love each other on a friend level
well,
because
here's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that they, not in a bad way, but I think that they're hooking up right now. And I think producers are
Mhm.
choosing not to show us because Tori and Jordan are such big players on this game now. And they can kind of say, hey, we don't want you to show the footage of us hooking up because it's, you know, we're not going to get back together. We're just having fun right now. We don't want people to get the wrong idea. Versus back in the day when producers didn't give a shit, they just showed everything. But now these people are becoming such big assets to them. I think that there's more going on there, and we're not getting to see everything, just like we never saw the Ashley thing, just like we don't see anything anymore. Like they just pick, I feel like we used to see almost everything. And then if we
Yeah.
didn't see it, we saw it in the shit they should have shown on the reunion. They
Mhm.
made sure we saw the ridiculous stuff. I do think
Interesting.
there's more stuff happening. Obviously, they're not giving us all the goods. They're just giving us some BS stuff to kind of just like chew on to keep us. We're always going to be hungry for more, but
Yeah.
we're somewhat satisfied, but not really.
Yeah. That's your
That's me.
conspiracy theory.
You don't have to
Yeah.
agree, but that's just how
I
I feel
hadn't
about
thought
it.
about it like that, but I wonder. I was just more so thinking about that same old, I'm beating a dead horse, but the critique is all they ever talk about is game. All they talk about is game. And it didn't get good until the second half of the show. Like none of the game talk was entertaining or dramatic enough to hold my attention. You okay?
Sorry,
You
my
like?
light was flickering. These lights are okay, but
Oh.
just the light in my room was flickering.
Um,
So
that I even I even turned to my husband. I was like, "Can somebody just look at somebody funny and the other person get mad for no reason, please? Like, I just want something that
we
isn't
want a
just
little bit of
stupid
drama for sure.
strategic." Yeah, it just
They don't
we
give it
need
to us
both
like that.
sides because there's always so many. Oh my gosh, living with a group of people, you can't tell me there's other stuff
Well,
not
that's
going
my
on.
besides strategic gameplay. There's obviously more stuff going
Like,
on,
are
which
they robots? Are all they talking about is the game? Like,
I
think
agree.
about your work-life balance. Like, you're not only talking about doing everything that's work, work, work. No, you're having fun and you're doing other stuff on the side too. And it
100%.
just,
And that's why it's so frustrating because you know
yeah,
there's good content that us as old school challenge fans, which, like, let's be real. I know there's new people watching the show, but I gotta assume that there's still a majority of people that are old school challenge fans that want
yeah,
to see
yeah,
both strategic gameplay and all that goofy side shit. Like, let's set up a slip and slide in the house and see what happens. Like, stupid stuff. Like, but we don't
yeah,
get those side. I want some B stories. I want some C storylines. I don't just need the A storyline, which is here's my strategic gameplay. Will John A choose KellyAnne or will she not? Like that was literally, like you said, 30 minutes. I'm like, I can
yeah,
see. Give me 3 conversations. They gave us like 10 conversations of her talking to every single person about will or will she not pick KellyAnne. I'm over it. I don't care. Fast forward to the actual spot where she has to make the decision already. I don't care about
yeah,
her pondering on it, thinking it over. I don't need to hear it. So that was disappointing
exactly.
for sure.
Yep, yep.
Um,
So what else we
okay.
got in these vignettes that are
I mean, there's so many goddamn vignettes because that's all this was the entire
yeah,
time.
but they weren't really super important though.
No,
I
that's the point. Wait, there's Kaz and Theo, and that they're cool now, but they used to date. They've reiterated that some more that they're cool, they're good to go. And then yeah, I wrote down my too much coverage of the John A thing. Oh, did you notice
Mhm.
on their shirts? I thought this was cool. They're not wearing Under Armour this year. They have someone else sponsoring it.
Okay.
And I know this is exciting
How
stuff.
interested I am in
This
that.
is exciting. I know. It's called Tyr, Tyr. It's pronounced Tyr, and it's a swimsuit manufacturer. And you'll see a big Tyr on their shirts, and that's what it is. There you go.
Damn, sorry, Under Armour. You're out. What happened there?
Or Under Armour didn't want to be a part of a non-MTV thing, but then again, this is just on Paramount Plus, which is all under the same umbrella. So I don't know. You know what? Maybe Tyr paid more money, to be honest with you, because they want to get their brand out there more. Because who the hell knows? Tyr versus Under Armour. I'm pretty sure more people know what the hell Under Armour is over Tyr. So maybe I don't know. Okay, we can get in Nellie's hair, but what were you gonna say?
I think let's get into the good stuff. I find it it didn't go over my head, but I didn't really have that much of a humorous reaction to Nellie's plan to Jonna, because I thought it was smart actually, but my husband next to me started laughing because I guess he is being very theatrical with it, right? He's like, here's the plan.
Yeah.
I walk in, but that's how Nellie is, right? He's the storyteller. I walk in. And I know that I want KellyAnne and Tristan. I'm going to put my hair up. Yeah. And if I don't, which is funny because it's like, you probably shouldn't have ever had a plan to go against Argentina in the first place, because you will ultimately.
And there's my conspiracy.
Oh, okay. That he was just making it up. What's your conspiracy?
The conspiracy is he knew the entire time that he didn't want to go against another Argentinian team because he wanted to keep them around. So this whole conversation he's having with Jonna about, hey, if my hair's up or my hair's down, and even in the confessional after he puts his hair up to say that he wants to go at KellyAnne instead, he even says in the confessional, he goes, so the reason I put my hair up is because I can't go after another Argentinian team. We got to keep them around. Well, here's my Nellie, you knew the whole damn time this.
Yeah,
so what is the point of having the conversation with Jonna? Just tell her right then and there that you want to keep Argentina around. There was no need for him to play. They tried to make a moment. They tried to give us a payoff, Jenna. They tried to make a bigger deal. Producers went to him and said, hey, Nellie, let's just have you do this fun little plan to give a little more drama when we get to elimination. It's garbage. It was unnecessary. It didn't mean anything because he already knew he wanted Argentina. He said originally, I want to see what the game is, to see who I'd rather go against. That's not the reason that he gave. It's not.
So you thought it was that part was produced then?
I think it was all produced. Yeah, that whole part.
I would almost counterpoint it and say that makes me like Nelson's strategy even more, that he's having this conversation with Jonna before the elimination, because he's being more of a game player, because he's maybe trying to steer Jonna off course of his true intentions and making it seem fair, not making it seem like he's trying to protect Argentina, even though that would be like the clear.
I love it. Now, see, that's another conspiracy that I like. So,
it's not necessarily a conspiracy. It's just Nelson.
But he never explained. Did he ever explain it that way, though, Jenna? So the reason I'm going to do this is to make it so look like he never actually says. For the reason I'm going to do this to make it look like I want to. Don't care if Argentina stays or not. Now that's what I'm talking. That's a great gameplay, Mary. If you meant to do it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, if you meant to do it, because you don't want to show all of your cards. I mean, there's loyalty and there's discussions with other people about where your head is and where your stake is in the game. Yeah. And that's good. Like, you give me a tidbit, I give you a tidbit,
Well, like, hear me out on this. He probably would have had a better chance against Benha and Jody.
Well, who would have known until we saw how terrible he was?
Well, that's true too. But at the same time, Benha's a lot smaller than, shorter than Tristan's. I feel like Tristan is tall. He looks tall to me. So when you have longer limbs, it's easier to build that momentum on that swing. Where Nellie, as we know, if you look in our YouTube picture, I'm 6 feet tall. This dude looks really small next to me. So Nellie's like 5'10". He's not that tall. And I don't think Benha is either.
I also wonder if they had entirely different expectations of what the elimination was going to be and what it called for.
That was the other issue too. It's like, I don't think if Nellie was trying to use the whole, I want to see what game is up there first, I don't think he knew what the hell it was. Like, there's a swing and then there's these puzzle pieces. I mean, I guess your mind could say you have to get them somehow. So I don't know, but
yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking too, is like, you can get a feel for what it's going to be. You can obviously tell if it's a puzzle or if there's strength, that there's going to be a lot of heavy lifting. Or, you recognize if there's an X and it's a pole wrestle, but something like that, you've never seen that before. You might wonder, like, am I climbing up? Are we taking turns? Like, who's doing what? Am I hanging upside down? You don't know really what it is. And it would, on the surface, you would think cater to his strengths because he's strong and in shape, but it didn't cater to his strategic strengths at all and understanding momentum.
So I wrote down, I guess Nelly never went to his physics class or his science class in high school and learned what the hell momentum was. I mean, obviously everyone's probably giving him shit right now. Probably not, because the poor guy got in a car accident. But in theory, everyone on that show is like, dude, why do you keep stopping her? And they showed it over and over and over again. I don't know if they hyped that up. Like, they just kept showing extra clips of, like, they show the people here, they show the people here, but it's all the same reaction, but they just get different clips of different reactions and then layer them in to make it look like more people, that he did it more times than he did.
Yeah.
But I think that he did.
Like, I mean, this is what
bad.
This is what you want, though. Like, this is just humans being humans. Like, this was so entertaining and so funny. One of my favorite shots is of Johnny Bananas. Wow, I never call him Johnny.
I love that you had us, but we still knew who Johnny was. I love that you still wanted to make sure I knew who that was. But yes,
just in case you didn't know, Mr. Bananas, the way that he's just looking at what's happening, and it's almost like he's in so much disbelief that he can't even laugh at that point. Yeah. He is just staring in utter shock. He can't understand how Nelson can't understand. And I get it going in, because your mind will just have these like natural knee-jerk reactions that you almost can't control, kind of like what Nani did in the final, how she knew all you had to do was step into the circle. You didn't have to put the ball
right.
You didn't have to, like, try to shoot the ball, but her brain just like blacked it out. For example, I wonder if you do this too. Like, sometimes when you think you know how to pronounce somebody's name, that's just what their name is. And when they correct you, you're like, shit. Like, you keep calling them what you originally called them. So I get that natural body, like, stoppage that's happening. Like, he just can't help himself that he thinks he's got to stop her, then throw her, stop her, then throw her. But when everyone's yelling at you, even by like the third or fourth time, you should probably just realize. And
I really don't think he ever got it, because they literally never got more than the one piece. And the only piece he got was the one that fell in the middle and he was able to wrestle away.
Yeah, and that was a big point too for KellyAnne and Tristan. I was like, "Ooh, they got to be careful to make sure that never happens again," because I do feel like Nelson will win that battle every time. So you got to keep swinging. Credit to Tristan and credit to KellyAnne. They smashed it. Tristan was so effortless once he finally got his pace and got his swing. And as much as I love Nelson, we're like Nelson's #1 fans. But I wanted KellyAnne to win this so bad.
Me too, 100%. I was going to ask, my next question for you was who you were rooting for, and I'm glad to hear we both were, because there's a lot more to that coming up in a second.
Yeah, I mean, I was rooting hard. I couldn't help it. I was like, "Come on, KellyAnne! Like, let's go! Like, nice, Tristan! Yeah!" Like, just being there, being in their corner entirely. Because, well, we'll go back a little bit. When Janae and Grant say it's going to be KellyAnne and Tristan, that's what really got me. I'm
100%, of course. It gave us a rooting interest, and I love that it did that for us, because the entire time you're like thinking Janae's going to screw this girl over, and she has no damn clue. She's like, I think there's a 0.001% chance that actually Janae says my name. Well, guess what? That 0.001% chance, whatever it is, came true. And how could we not root for you now, KellyAnne? You got to prove it. You got to come back in this house. We want the drama, obviously, and now that should be really good drama for the next couple episodes, especially if KellyAnne and Tristan can muster up a daily challenge win. You know damn well they're gonna somehow try to get Janae in there. I don't know how they would finagle that, because they don't get the vote right away, but she's gonna be their vote, hopefully, if they get to vote somehow.
And it's one part of it that she did say KellyAnne's name after hugging her and after saying, let's work together. Let's
in an alliance.
That was already kind of dirty. And I know we're big advocates for, like, play the game, like, make dirty, do what you got to do. It's a game. It's for money. It's for you and yourself. So it's still something comes off still kind of like icky about her making that relationship.
You know why that it's an icky move? is because it didn't really make any sense this early in the game to go against someone who could have been an ally to you and say, no, I don't want you as an ally. When clearly KellyAnne, if Johnny said, look, KellyAnne, I want to work with you this whole season. And then maybe she screws her over in episode 10. That's fine. Great. You screwed her over then. But to screw over when you have someone that you know damn well KellyAnne wanted to work with John A., wanted to be a part of that, what didn't want to screw John A. over in any way. And then John A.'s like, no, you're a guaranteed ally, but I'm going to screw you over in episode number 3 instead of waiting. If you want to play that game and screw KellyAnne over, don't do it now. Do it when you actually really need to. You could have played the safe game and it was Jody really working with John A. I don't know if they were, then that's fine. But like, I didn't really see them as like, oh, we're definitely working. Jody and Johnny are definitely working together. So why not guarantee keep an ally around for at least a little bit? I know KellyAnne talks a lot and she's a little frantic and stuff like that, but she came to play in that elimination. I was rooting for her and Tristan 100%. I'm super happy to see them back in the house. And I'll get into my hate for John A in a second as well.
Yeah, well, yeah. So there is the part that felt kind of dirty and icky to me, but I could, I would ultimately like just say, I guess John A, she's playing the game. She's got to do what she's got to do. But what got me was her smirk, was the way she acted when Grant delivered the news.
Right.
That's what actually ticked me off. That's what made me like so diehard KellyAnne, was seeing John A stand up there, like smirking ear to ear, looking very malicious, very vindictive. I was kind of like, like, screw you for doing that.
Yeah, that's how I felt with it. Like,
yeah,
you, Johnny, what is that move?
Yeah, I was like, wow, are you really think you're like, okay, you think you're like the shit up
and
there?
that's like, I want John A to meet the John A that was on the original challenge and have them like, grab a mirror, babe, look at who you are now versus who you were then, and stop acting. Why are you acting like this now? Because to me, you could still turn into this other character that you used to be on the original like challenge, like where no one took you seriously at all. All you wanted to do was party and hook up with Zach and whatever. Let's be real, that happened. Now, so here's where I really got mad at John A. John A played her card and she put KellyAnne down there instead of putting Jody down there. And guess what? KellyAnne won and came back and starts calling out John A. She's like, why did you turn on me? Why did you throw me in? And John A could not even give her a straight answer. She kept like not denying it, but like coming up with BS excuses. No, you decided to sit at this side of the table. Now stay at that side of the table and answer her questions. You're being interrogated now. Like, step it up and say, look, my bad. I made a move. I didn't, tell her the reasons why. I don't like, she was really trying to beat around the bushes. What were her reasoning? She couldn't even give KellyAnne like a legitimate reason. It was really weird. And I was like, KellyAnne, don't give up. Like, keep going at her. Like, and KellyAnne eventually like was so frustrated, she just walked away.
Yeah, it was really satisfying to see John A and Grant kind of have to enter the house with their tail in between their legs and look so frazzled and look honestly scared and intimidated of Tristan and KellyAnne. And it also pisses me off so much that Grant came in with these fake niceties with like,
what was that about? Yeah, I hated that.
Oh, hey, bro, like, I thought you were going home, bro.
Here's what I hated about, sorry, one more thing about John A, what she said. She goes, why are you so mad? You won, didn't you? Yeah, John A, you threw her in though, you weirdo. What are we like? How John A not being able to see KellyAnne's side really threw me off, because I, as a guy in 2023, I try to see both sides of the situation. Like when Stacey and I have like different thoughts on something, like I always try to like, okay, I see what Stacey's saying. Now I see what I'm saying, and then we can work it out. John A in this case is not seeing KellyAnne's side, and it's blowing my mind that she either just doesn't want to admit that she sees her side or just can't see it. That it's scary.
Yeah, and I'm curious of the validity of her saying, well, KellyAnne, you went and told everybody about our alliance, so that's why I threw you in. Because I do feel like we would have seen that.
Thank you, Jenna. You're exactly right.
The producers are really good at rolling back the tape. Like, they like to show us the evidence if somebody's trying
right there and there, right?
Yeah, they do. They either will show it in like the preemptive before the elimination, kind of fueling what might foreshadowing what might happen, or they run it back when somebody calls something out. So whether they missed it or they don't have it and they don't have it on tape, or they chose not to do it to give KellyAnne like a better redemption arc, and I don't know, but I tend to think John A's lying about that and just trying to cover her ass. I really do, because I think that they would have shown it. But the truth of that, I guess, will be a question mark. But I love that KellyAnne is just trying to break the passive aggressiveness. Same with Tristan, that when Grant comes over, Tristan's just like, what the fuck? What are we doing here? Like, why are you in this room?
Yeah.
Why are you talking to me? Why are you dapping me up? Why are you high-fiving me? Like, yeah, I thought you were going home. And it's just like, okay, get out of
But
my
I
face.
didn't
Like,
go home, so get the hell out of here, Grant. Yeah, I finally have a team that I'm not rooting for, besides Sarah, because I don't like Sarah. But John A. and now Grant are on my list of teams I will not be rooting for on this show, and that's for sure. Yeah.
And it's good to really have a team that you're rooting, like actively rooting for, because everybody else is trying to almost like I know KellyAnne, there's a truth to her, I think, acting a little bit, is erotic maybe the word? Like she could like lose her cool, sure.
Or is it erratic?
No, erratic. Oh my God, not erotic. Thank you.
She could be exotic too, maybe. I don't know. Whatever she wants. She wants to dress a certain way. I don't know.
Eccentric, electric.
She is extra. She's another E word. She's a little extra with some of her feelings.
But, okay. Also, I have a sidebar to that. Just whatever. I'm biased that I'm a KellyAnne fan. So
am I.
I like her doing her thing. I like her being herself, because my husband will, he'll be like, yeah, but she's kind of freaking out. I'm like, she's fine. She's not freaking out. She's actually.
You are defending that.
That
is true.
I'm a KellyAnne defender. I am. I'm like, she's fine. She's just speaking her piece. I'm like, we need people to speak up, because everyone is way too passive aggressive in this house. So if she needs to walk her walk and talk her talk, let her. Like, whatever. But that's an aside to the point. Let me think about what I was trying to do. Oh my gosh. Okay. I feel as though, yes, she can be extra, but I do feel as though she's being kind of like scapegoated in that way, because even Wes had her back when Janae was saying stuff like, she thinks I'm betraying her or this or that. And Wes is like, yeah, but you kind of are. Like, she's very loyal. Like, she's really, really loyal. So of course she's going to feel like this. So I
liked KellyAnne and Wes's relationship back in the day too. So I'm still like holding on to that. Not that I ever think that's going to happen, but I just I liked that time of the challenge. So I'm nostalgic for that. And I am nostalgic for Wes and KellyAnne maybe working together again, and just to bring back that old school, the old school vibe of the show with something like that could be fun. I don't know. And now I really have someone that I'm rooting for, because they are clearly, they're not the underdogs, but they're clearly being, I don't want to say targeted, but they were at least by John A. So it's someone to root for that's considered not as good as like, oh, Wes and Zara. Who's he with? Oh my God, we don't even know people's names have that. Zara, I think.
I mean, this episode was the KellyAnne episode.
Exactly. So we didn't even see you. That was crazy. I enjoyed this episode pretty much, except for the long strategic play of the John A decision. But we didn't see Wes like any time ever.
Yeah.
They briefly showed him for like a half second, and I still enjoyed this show for the most part. So that was good. Yeah,
but again, like it lets me kind of wanting more on this confrontation, on this.
Well, I felt the same way. I said, KellyAnne, don't leave the room. Stay in there.
I
keep
know.
interrogating her. So
exactly.
But like you said at the beginning of the podcast, that's kind of a good thing. We're left wanting more. Hopefully this bleeds over into episode 4 now with the KellyAnne and the John A drama. And maybe John A either admits her wrongfulness of just like, okay, or not wrongful, just okay, my bad, I guess. I messed up, or I admit that I made my decision based on this. Like, give us something, John.
Yeah, I think it is. Yes. I just like when people can, and it's so hard to do in every situation, because none of us really want to admit when we're wrong. But if you can acknowledge,
I like acknowledgement. Yeah.
Like, acknowledge that it was a game move. Say something, like just say something that puts a little bit of power behind your decision. Like,
yeah. And I
really say something like, if you have a reason why, like with conviction and with passion, then I could see it, John A. Like, okay, if you honestly are scared of KellyAnne in the game, if you don't
tell us something.
If there's something, give it to us. But other than you're just kind of like cowering away, and it just makes me, it makes me more on KellyAnne's side of everything. And it makes me want her to chew you out. Because if you're not gonna, I don't know, easier said than done though. So
yeah. That is the entire episode though. I think we did a nice breakdown of that. Yeah. That was fun. Should I show you my surprise before we go today?
Yes.
I should have done this. I should have started it off by saying I had a surprise at the end, so that way we could have teased that.
Does it live and breathe?
It does live and breathe. She's actually asleep right now.
Oh
But
God,
now
stop it.
she's
Word,
awake.
stop. Oh my God.
How cute is
My
she, huh?
little baby. It's a her. What's her name?
Her name is Rosie.
Oh, little Rosie.
Yeah,
Oh my
she's Rosie.
God, little cuddly
I know she
girl.
was sleeping. That's why she looks half in the bag right now. But
Oh, sweet girl.
all
Oh,
right, I'm
she
going
looks
back
like
down.
she's so warm too.
Oh,
I'm freezing
she's
right
so
now.
soft and warm. Oh yeah, she'd warm you right up, Miss Jenna. But yeah,
Oh,
she's still being potty trained. And she's teething right now. But once that stuff's done, like I was saying pre-show with you, once she's done teething and once she's potty trained, it's gonna be super chill. She's trying to bite everything. Like right now, she's
yeah.
going.
So is it worth it? Is it worth like having to change everything in your life to take care of a dog?
Well, when she sleeps, it is. She's like the cutest thing. She wants to cuddle with you all the time. Yeah, it is. Like I'll go to the gym during the day before I go to work because Stacy and I, I work nights. She works during the day, and so like I'll run out to go to the gym, and I'm at the gym like working out faster than I usually do because I just want to get home. I don't want her to
And you
have to
see
be in.
Jonathan, and you see Jonathan at other
Wait,
Johnny.
Johnny, yeah, his name because does he go by Jonathan? I was like, who the hell's Jonathan? The other Johnny I do see.
He's
Yes.
so erotic.
Yeah, Johnny is so erotic. Yes. Hashtag Johnny is erotic. If you're still
Oh,
listening.
forgive me for that, everyone.
Oh, that was great. No, it was
Uh,
fun. Yeah,
we
she's
all
still
make
sitting here. She's
mistakes.
wagging her tail. She's doing her thing. But yeah, so now we have a puppy named Rosie, and she's the best. And she's only going to be like 25 to 30 pounds. Like right now, she's like 7 pounds. So
Oh my God. That's
she's not
great.
going to be. She's a mini golden doodle. So she's not like my brother and sister have golden doodles that get up to like 50 pounds. She's going to be half that size. So that's the size we wanted. We wanted something a little small.
Oh,
I
that's so
know.
sweet.
She has a little teddy bear. She has a little teddy bear face. All right, I'll let you go. You got to go. I'm
I
gonna
just
post
want to
this
go
thing.
shove popcorn in my mouth. So I
Hey,
do,
you know what? What a great St. Patrick's Day treat.
but it's smothered in vegetable oil, so probably not because it's out
Huh.
of a bag and it's processed and it's terrible for me.
And
But
Stacy and I will like split bags of popcorn. And we're like, should we do one more bag? Like, yeah,
oh,
okay.
always, I always want another bag.
Yeah. All right. See y'all
Get it
next
out.
week for episode 4.
Mm.
Thank you all for tuning in. Pamela, hopefully we'll be back next week. She's just very, very busy, as we all are. Yes.
I know she really is. All right, love you
All right.
guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.